Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to News Talk with yours truly, Chris Anu, coming to you from the great state of Texas, Houston, Texas precisely. Who is calling the shots in La République du Cameroon at the moment? Is it the Bias regime or Issa Tchiroma'S? 48 hours ultimatum. And Yaoundé is already panicking, rushing to prison yet the next day to release a number of inconsequential detainees. The real political detainees still remain behind bars. That will be the major subject for discussion today. But besides that, we're going to be talking about what I title the hypocrisy of the West. The West tells Africa, you are the harbingers of your own change. You are the architect of your own change. And how do Africans effect change? By going to the polls to vote. But when Africa votes at the polls, the West endorses the dictator. They endorse the loser. That is the case with Cameroon and Tanzania. That is also one of the subjects we're going to be discussing today. I will be joined tonight by Professor Carson Anyangwe, Onga Onana, and Eric Chinje. They will all be joining me on the broadcast today to give their take on the political landscape in La République du Cameroon today. If you are joining, ladies and gentlemen, by way of the social media, please do me the favor, go ahead, hit your share button. Hit your share button. Let everybody know the anchor man is not live. He is indeed alive. Last evening, somebody called me and said, Comrade Chris, well done, you haven't picked up. We haven't picked up. I just received a phone call that you haven't picked up. And I was like, what? Where did you get that news? I was lying comfortably on my bed and that phone call came in last evening. And I said, listen, I am still here. So I am not just live here. I am not AI. I am Chris Anu. Thank you for tuning in. I am indeed live, as you can hear the sound of my voice and feel the temperature right within me. So please go ahead, hit your share button if you are watching by way of Facebook, and hit the like and subscribe button if you are watching by way of YouTube, and make sure you share the link. This promises to be very, very exciting tonight. Thank you one more for joining. I will be right back.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com.
All right. Thank you once more for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we're going to look at the political atmosphere in La République du Cameroon, what I call Cameroon. I mean, a pillar of cloud, a pillar of uncertainty hanging over the Republic of Cameroon, owing from October 12th presidential elections in which the loser was proclaimed the winner, and the winner is in hiding. It's in hiding. Saturday night, Tchiroma'S, the winner of that election, issued a 48-hour proclamation ultimatum in that matter to La République du Cameroon, asking it to go ahead and immediately release the political prisoners that they have in their cells since the election's date. And early this morning, we are told we've seen some footages emerging from Kondenge prison of some prisoners or detainees showing excitement of them being released. However, the main political actors who were picked up in the backdrop of that election remain behind bars. By the way, when Tchiroma'S issues a 48-hour ultimatum for the regime to release prisoners, we really don't know which prisoners he is referring to. Is he referring to victims of this election or all the political prisoners who have been behind bars ever since before the election? That is what we do not know. It was a vague statement in my estimation, and maybe Eric Chinje will do some justice to that ultimatum. But I'd like to bring to you, ladies and gentlemen, the statement from Tchiroma'S Saturday night. The statement from Tchiroma'S Saturday night. And this is what Tchiroma'S said. Go.
Dear compatriots, ladies and gentlemen, I take the floor in my capacity as a president-elect of Cameroon. I want to launch a wake-up call to the world in general, in particular the nation which have based their very existence on democracy and human rights protection. I want to bring to their knowledge that for the first time in the history of our nation, all Cameroonians have their back today against the war, confronted with a life-threatening menace coming from this unlawful, dictatorial, state-based terrorism, state-based gangsterism against the people. They have been arresting out of any lawful legal procedure. They have jailed hundreds and thousands of Cameroonians, deprived of their right, not because they did something, because this dictatorial regime have decided to operate ethnic cleansing, political cleansing, regional cleansing. This situation is unbearable, unacceptable. I say it in my capacity as a president-elect of this nation. I also want to bring to your knowledge the fact that all Cameroon knows it. The world in general knows it, that President Biya has never been elected by Cameroonian people. But during the swearing-in procedure, President Biya put his hand on the Bible to ask God to be the witness of his election. This is sacrilege. This is profanation. I just want to call your attention to the fact that he uses God just to fulfill his ugly purpose. This is unbearable. This is unacceptable. In my capacity, I urge this regime to give up fighting our people, to give up killing our daughters and sons. Cameroonians will never accept it. I launch an ultimatum. I give you, in my capacity, I give you 48 hours to liberate all of those who, out of law, unlawfully, you have arrested and jailed. Failing to doing it, Cameroonians will find themselves in a legitimate defense and free to undertake whatever will enable them to recover their freedom and to free their daughters and sons who are illegally imprisoned, jailed somewhere. This is the message I want to share. Cameroonian pass if 48 hours, as I said, they refuse to comply. Cameroonians, they are in legitimate position to defend themselves, to defend their family, and to go retrieve their daughters and sons who are unlawfully and illegally have been arrested and jailed. Keep this in mind, and for as long as this problem has not been solved, you have to remain tall and strong and ready to fight for your freedom, for your right. May the Lord bless our nation. Thank you.
All right, and that is the man, Issa Tchiroma, ladies and gentlemen, giving La République du Cameroon a 48-hour ultimatum to release those they have picked up during this time of crisis in the country and putting behind bars. Very soon, I believe sometime tonight, that 48-hour time frame would have been over. The question is, what follows? We know for sure that by this moment, La République du Cameroon, they have released a few number of detainees, but the bulk of them, the most important, not that others are not important, but those who are behind Issa Tchiroma, talking about the, is it Chameni and others, they all still behind bars. They all still behind bars. And if Issa Tchiroma was also including Ambazonian prisoners, Siseko Ayok Tabi, Abdul Karim Ali, Tasang Wilfred, if he was also including this category of prisoners among those he's giving the 48 hours ultimatum, they are still behind bars. They have, nobody has even reached out to them. I spoke to some of them this morning, and they said no, they've not heard from anybody from the regime in Yaoundé. And so the question remains, what happens? What happens if after the 48 hours, ladies and gentlemen, nothing happens to these important prisoners who are behind bars? And that would be the subject of my monologue for you tonight. Tonight, Cameroon stands beneath a pillar of cloud. A pillar of cloud, not of divine guidance, but of national uncertainty, fear, and confusion. Since the proclamation of the October 12th elections and the swearing in of Paul Biya, the country has been engulfed in an atmosphere so heavy, and so uncertain that even the winds of clarity seem suspended. Paul Biya's swearing-in ceremony was meant to bring closure to the election. Instead, it opened a void. The people are unsure who truly leads them. The regime is unsure who to trust. The world, too, is unsure what to believe and who to support among the two contenders. What hangs above Cameroon now is not calm. It is a suffocating silence, the kind that precedes a storm. For 3 days last week, the country stood still under Issa Tchiroma's declared ghost towns. Streets empty, businesses shut, cities whispering. Then, just as suddenly, Issa Tchiroma disappeared from view, resurfacing only through a chilling ultimatum, 48 hours for the regime to release all those it has unjustly detained. That was Saturday night. His voice, though distant and cautious, still echoes through the political void. He is hiding, yet the regime trembles. He speaks rarely, yet every word now ripples across the land. This is proven by the rush to congregate today for a hasty release of some detainees. So it appears like they are actually listening to Issa Tchiroma and want to place him or maybe pacify him at every ultimatum. But the most alarming revelation, ladies and gentlemen, of all, if proven to be authentic, has come from far away Ottawa, that is, Canada. A leaked confidential memorandum, stamped Canadian secret, from Global Affairs Canada. Now, for your information, Global Affairs Canada is the equivalent of the Foreign Office of any country, the Foreign Office of any country. The confidential memorandum now circulating among diplomatic circles paints a grim and disturbing picture of Cameroon's near future. Dated XXX November 2025. The memorandum carries the title, and I quote, Post-Election Crisis in Cameroon, High Risk of Regional Destabilization and Prolonged Civil War, end of quote. The report's language is not diplomatic, it is apocalyptic. It begins with this line, and I quote, Intelligence and diplomatic reporting from our engagements with Cameroonian government officials and Ambazonian authorities indicate that President Paul Biya's re-election on October 12, 2025 has entrenched a neo-colonial kleptocracy with a clandestine plan to maintain RDPC, that is the CPDM control, until 2050, even post-Biya, end of quote. Now let that sink in. A political dynasty projected to continue 25 years after this election. A dynasty that, according to the memo, mirrors the long-rooted successions of West and Central Africa, talking of Togo, Gabon, the Congo, Equatorial Guinea. The Canadian assessment goes further, describing the Continuity Pact 2025 as a secret plan within Biya's inner circle, involving Ferdinand Ngongo, Paul Atanganji, Samuel Ayolo, Fem Indongo, and others, designed to keep control through proxy rule while Biya's health deteriorates under advanced dementia and prostate cancer. The memo says this pact, and I quote, ensures perpetual elite enrichment while average Cameroonians face economic bleakness, youth unemployment above 40%, poverty at 40% despite oil wealth funneled to Swiss accounts, and end of quote. This, ladies and gentlemen, is not the speculation of social media. It is the assessment of a G7 country, a G7 government. Then comes the section of the memo that hits the nation's deepest wound, Cameroon's deepest wound, the treatment of the English-speaking regions. Under the title, Deliberate Neglect of Anglophone Regions, end of quote. The document says the Biya Pact, and I quote, explicitly vows permanent punishment of Ambazonia. No resolution to the 2016 crisis. Sonora and CDC, it says, abandon. Kribi and Limbe prioritize for Francophone elites, end of quote. The memo declares bluntly that this policy fuels resentment, ensuring no major development in the Northwest and Southwest, end of quote. This, the Canadians won, is deliberate. It is not neglect by accident. It is neglect by design. The document continues with shocking geopolitical analysis. France, it says, and I quote, views an illegitimate beer as preferable to anti-French Tchiroma'S, end of quote. China is described as backing the regime for resource access. Why, and I quote, lobbyists convince Washington, D.C. of the untamed benefits. Yet, Canada discerns, stating clearly that, and I quote, our mediation experience of 2023 pre-talks shows the rigged status quo guarantees collapse. Then, the memo turns to threats, explosive ones for that matter. It warns that Tchiroma'S northern alliances are, and I quote, eyeing Nigerian-backed insurgency for Muslim leadership, why Boko Haram signals revenge against the BIR forces. It also adds Ambazonians in temporary retreat post-election, but diaspora stockpiles autonomous drones and biological agents via intercepted communications. I am directly quoting the memorandum. Whether this intelligence is confirmed or exaggerated, ladies and gentlemen, the picture it paints is terrifying. It suggests a Cameroon about to be pulled apart from both north and south, a multi-front guerrilla storm beyond Yaoundé's control. The Canadian conclusion is damning. It is damning, and I quote it. Without intervention, Cameroon faces inevitable disintegration into extended civil war, spilling beyond Ambazonia borders and threatening Canadian interests, end of quote. And then, the final warning, the kind diplomats rarely put in writing, and I quote again, inaction condemns Cameroon to Sahel-like fragmentation, no future without change, end of quote. Those are not the words of a foreign activist. They are the words of a Western government acknowledging, perhaps for the first time, that the Cameroon state, as presently constituted, may be on the brink of collapse. Now, back in Yaoundé, the mood mirrors the alarm. Ministers whisper in corridors, glancing over their shoulders. Anyone outside the tight inner ring, the tight inner circle of Ferdinand Ngongo, Atanganji, Chantal Biya, Sangwe Ayolo, Fem Ndongo, and others, is treated as a suspect. Senior military officers, too, are quietly suspected of maintaining channels with Tchiroma'S people. No one trusts anyone within the regime in Yaoundé today. The government that once ruled through fear is now itself consumed by it. And yet, amidst the chaos, there is one piece of cold comfort for the regime. There is still only one man sworn in as president. One man. Tchiroma'S, widely acclaimed by the opposition and the population as the true winner of the recent election, has not staged a parallel inauguration. The specter of two presidents issuing competing orders thus, at least for now, has been avoided. But that does not mean Yaoundé sleeps well, not at all. We are told that Tchiroma'S has now transformed from candidate to crusader. He calls it the People's Revolution. He speaks of permanent change, of reclaiming the people's stolen mandate. But he has not yet articulated a strategy, a structure, or a clear national roadmap. His strength lies in symbolism, and his weakness too. A revolution without form is a cloud. It hovers, it darkens, but it does not yet strike. Yet, that cloud alone has been enough to keep the regime guessing. His ghost towns worked. His silence, though frustrating to his supporters, terrifies those in power. And his videos, short and defiant, continue to circulate like sparks in dry grass. Still, Tchiroma'S greatest test lies ahead. If he wants to sustain the revolution's credibility, if he wants people to hold faith, he must step out and speak boldly, fully, and fearlessly. Silence alone cannot lead a revolution. Not when the enemy controls the state and the international community looks on from a safe distance. The West has often said it plainly. You are the ones to change your systems, not us. Perhaps this is that moment in Cameroon. The Canadian memo, bleak as it is, might ironically be the catalyst. It signals that the world finally sees the rot in Yaoundé. But it also reminds Cameroonians that the world will not fix it for them. The world will not fix it for them. And so tonight, as Cameroon stands under this pillar of cloud, we see a nation unsure of tomorrow, its institutions fractured, its elite at war with each other, its youth restless, its neighbors silent. Nigeria has yet to congratulate Paul Biya. France claps quietly behind closed doors. The United States has acknowledged the inauguration, but pointedly refused to acknowledge the election victory. That diplomatic silence speaks louder than any declaration of victory. It is the world's way of saying, we see the storm forming, and we will not walk into it. And so, the regime sits, crowned but not comforted. Tchiroma'S hides, defiant but unstructured. The people wait, exhausted but not broken. And above them all, the pillar of cloud remains, heavy, unmoving, ominous. In the end, the future of Cameroon will depend on who steps out first and how. If the regime acts only with repression, it will push the nation over the edge. If Tchiroma'S and the opposition acts without clarity, it will waste the people's energy in chaos. If the world stays silent, it will watch another African tragedy unfold in real time. But one thing is certain, the election may be over, but the struggle has only begun. From the corridors of Yaoundé to the embassies abroad, from the streets of Marawa to the forests of Amazonia, every heartbeat now carries a question. That is, what happens next? What happens next? And that is my monologue, ladies and gentlemen. At this moment, I'd like to bring in Professor Carson Anyangwe, who is joining me from South Africa. We'll also be joined by Eric Chinje and Onga Onana. These people who are very versed with what is going on in La République du Cameroon. And I see your camera shaking, Eric. If you can get it positioned steadily, that would be awesome. Let me get to Professor Carson Anyangwe. It's a great pleasure to have you, Prof. Oh, the camera just went out. Okay. Well, let me turn to Eric while Professor Anyangwe turns on his camera. Eric, it's a great pleasure to have you back here, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Chris, and it's a pleasure to be with you again. These are very trying times, and I'm glad we were able to keep the line open and to engage in information that I hope will not only help the country, but also allow Cameroonians and others to contribute to Amazonians to contribute to a peaceful resolution of the multiple crises in our geography.
Absolutely. You and I know you are very close to Issa Tchiroma, and you talk to him on a daily basis. You have listened to the audio that you put out yesterday, giving Cameroon 48 hours to release political prisoners. And today, Cameroon began to do just that. And I asked the question, who is in charge in Yaoundé? Is it Paul Biya or Issa Tchiroma?
Well, obviously, Chris, I'm sure you know, and everybody listening to us on this program and the rest of the global community, they know Mr. Biya is not in charge. Mr. Biya is no longer in charge, totally unable to carry out the functions of president. You mentioned early dementia. There's no doubt about that. We've seen it, not only when he was in the United States, we saw it a few days ago when he went out to be sworn in, or the charade of a swearing in ceremony. Mr. Biya very clearly did not even know where he was. If the guy could not know where he was on the day of his swearing in, it's not in the daily running of the affairs of state that he will know what's going on. No, the man is not in charge anymore. This is there's a kleptocracy that is in charge in Cameroon. Almost, look, I don't know if it's a lot of people use the word satanism, satanists who are running the place. There's a dark cloud that's settled over Cameroon, and until that can be resolved, I don't know. I'm certain the country cannot move forward. And part of what we are doing, part of what Mr. Tchiroma is doing, besides reclaiming his victory in the elections, is to give this country a chance to come out of that dark place and to seek the light again.
So So this is the question, Eric. A 48-hour ultimatum, again, the question remains, what after the 48 hours? And those 48 hours would have expired by midnight tonight. What follows, considering that all the detainees, the important ones in that matter, they remain behind bars?
Well, first of all, please, this frightened government is trying to play it both ways. They've given the impression, they've released people, some people, but none of the people who threaten the system in any way. So this is a cloak. They've tried, they want to be able to tell the global community, we release people. But we know, of course, that is a smokescreen. The main characters, the people that are political prisoners have not been released. We know that. And Mr. Tchiroma and the team will not stop at a simple call for the release of prisoners. The ultimate objective is to get to a treaty. That's the ultimate objective, to release all these political prisoners to release all these people who are suffering from the high levels of injustice in the country. So when you ask me what next, which is a very legitimate question, and people need to know this, we are on a journey to help the people of that country reclaim their power. The whole point of calling for a 48-hour, of giving this government a 48-hour ultimatum was to awaken the people of Cameroon, who seem to, because the change that is demanded is not Tchiroma'S change. It's change for the nation. If the nation wants it, the nation has to stand up and reclaim it. We do not see a future for that country, that piece of geography, with the current group that's in charge of it. We do not see that for a whole variety of reasons. The thievery, the dilapidation of state resources, the absence of a vision, the inability to articulate policies that hold promise for future growth and development. All of these things are missing. And no country will develop by some blind, like a ship in the sea without a rudderless ship in the sea. No country develops under those circumstances. What Mr. Tchiroma is seeking to do is, one, bring peace to the country. Two, institute policies that would ensure growth in the economy. Begin to repair the broken links amongst the citizens. So a major effort at national reconciliation. Reintroduce justice that was long forgotten in the country. Cameroonians do not really know what justice is. Repair the broken health and education infrastructure. Rebuild our roads. Look at a country look at 43 years of Mr. Biya's governance that at least should have been reflected in the quality of life in some of the key areas of the country, the political capital, in the economic capital. But go to those two main cities. They have no lights, they have no water, they have no roads. They've been transformed into heaps of garbage. There are no jobs for the young people. I am currently outside the country in another African capital that doesn't have a tenth of the resources of Cameroon. But look at how they've transformed the capital and beyond, because I've driven outside the capital for 2 hours on highways that would make even developed countries in Europe and beyond jealous. That's what we're talking about. We have a country that has all the resources to move up the development ladder, but unfortunately just has a bunch of leaders who have no vision, who have no sense of patriotism, who have no desire to share the wealth of the land, who are indifferent to the suffering of the people. That is why they can arrest, throw young men in jail, and lock up the jailhouse and throw the keys away. They're totally indifferent to the degrading human condition in that country. So Mr. Tchiroma is really determined to go the full 9 yards. He will become the third president of the Republic of Cameroon, whether they want it or not. And he will transform that country in a very short time. Mr. Tchiroma has no intention of spending 4 + 3 makes 7. The 43 years of Mr. Biya, 4 + 3, 7. He has no intention of spending even 7 years in office. He believes the work he has to do will take 3 to 5 years at the very most. And he intends to do that.
Interesting.
Change the constitution. Make sure that the electoral system is, would allow citizens to vote and arrive at the candidate who gets the majority. Ensure that, peace returns to the land, across the land. In the English-speaking parts of that country, in the far north and in the east, the most resourceful parts of that nation are the ones that suffered the most. And think about this, Chris. A bunch of English-speaking elite created or faked circumstances where Mr. Biya, a regime that has destroyed the land, killed people, sent people on exile, sent others as internally displaced within the country. That regime got the most votes. If anybody can explain that to me, then I'll understand that Mr. Biya, the incapable Mr. Biya, did win the election. That's where we are today in the country.
It is interesting when you lay out all that Tchiroma is about to accomplish or embark upon, reforming the country. When we spoke yesterday, he said he has moved from candidate Tchiroma to a crusader, a revolutionary leader. In other words, he's no longer considering the struggle at this moment to be about a presidential election, but about a revolution. If you can explain a little bit what he means by this, and if he were to do all those things you have enumerated here, how soon? How soon? Because people are very impatient out there.
Well, Chris, first of all, to explain that dichotomy between the political leader and the revolutionary leader that Mr. Tchiroma has become, and I can tell you, it's only in the last few days that he has readjusted that in his mind to understand that he's no longer this politician who sought the highest office in the land. That will come. But between now and then, he has to lead a revolution. So he's become the head of a resistance movement. And it takes for a different mindset, it takes for a different posture, and a new set of policies. So Mr. Tchiroma and his team are working night and day now to develop the appropriate policies that will be used to lead the revolution that must take place. But at the base of all the action that will be taken in the coming days is the Cameroonian people who demand change. The change is not about Mr. Tchiroma. The change is about Cameroon. If the people want change, they will have to stand up and be counted. They cannot fall back, and say, well, we're used to this, to the pain and the suffering, and we'll continue. No. If they want change, they'll have to stand up and demand it and go for it. It should not only be in their minds, it should be in their actions. That is what Mr. Tchiroma, that is what he's going to be leading in the interim before he moves on to be inaugurated as president. He'll be leading that charge of resistance, for ensuring that this regime does not survive, and it will not. So the actions are being taken. They're being developed into policy, which should begin to become evident as early as tomorrow. Today we are on Monday, the 10th of November, mark my words. As early as 11th, 12th of November, those policies will start rolling out those policies. The system in Yaoundé will not be given the break they think they can have. They cannot. For a whole variety of reasons, Chris. Think about this. If we let these guys off the hook now, and they see themselves running the country over the next 5, 6, 7 years, what do you think they'll do? They'll perfect their system. That's the first thing they will do, perfecting their system. And then it'll be a government of the type of government that serves the few. It'll be that type of government for the next 50 years, or at least the next 25, before the next revolution. So we can't let them get away with it.
So
We've got to, yes.
does Mr. Tchiroma understand the urgency with which Cameroonians want him to act?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question. If he understands what?
Whether Mr. Tchiroma understands the urgency with which Cameroonians want him to act.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Chris. You know as well as I do, and I think you spoke to him. You know as well as I do that the primary thing he was concerned about was his security. He had to be concerned about that. Because when he was in Cameroon, on Cameroonian soil, they surrounded his house. He was being protected by a bunch of young men and women who were willing to sacrifice everything to protect him. He was in his house. The military surrounded that house a couple of blocks away from the human shield. And then that shield, that human shield, was declining over time for a whole variety of reasons: hunger, tiredness, poor conditions of living. But a lot of people came around. You must have heard of Project C that we were part of. They were raising money to feed those young people. That kept them there for a while, but the military kept putting the pressure, moving in, towards the house. And it got to a point where Mr. Tchiroma recognized the fact that if he continued to stay in that house in Garoua, he would be picked up. They would storm it. There were snipers all around the house. So he knew that he had to be exfiltrated one way or the other. And with the help of some loyal military guys, he was exfiltrated. So the next thing was for him to stay alive, to be in a safe place. And the only country he could go to at the time was willing to provide the security, but did not want him to speak. So he could not speak. He absolutely had to respect that. It was a commitment he took. But that same government and others got to work, African governments, who are totally unhappy with the situation in Cameroon. They got to work to find a decent place and a safe place for Mr. Tchiroma, where he is now. And as soon as he got there, he made the speech he made last night.
So hold on there. Let's get this very clear. So what you are saying is some African leaders came together or spoke and among themselves, discussed among themselves, and gave Tchiroma a secured location where he is now. Correct?
Absolutely. I'm confirming that, yes.
Awesome. All right.
Please. And so he will increasingly, he obviously does not want to create problems for that new leader, the leader in the where he is now, but he obviously will, once we unleash this policy, the new policy, he'll have to, be more present and play that leadership role more effectively than he has been able to, given the circumstances of his protection where he is. So we'll be seeing more of him in the coming days and weeks.
I don't need you to disclose wherever he is, but last week we reported that he was flown back into the country, and many people believe that as of now he is in the country. So you are confirming here that he is now in the hands of a more secure government somewhere in Africa.
I would say that he's in a more secure place somewhere in Africa, which includes Cameroon. I don't want to give the folks in Yaoundé reason to maybe to destroy a certain part of the country because they're looking for Chiroma.
All right. Okay. Eric, please hang in there. Let me get to Prof. Anyangwe, who is joining us from South Africa, please. All right. Prof. Anyangwe, it's a privilege to have you here live. The last time we tried this, we could only do it by phone, owing to your amateurism in technology, I should say. But thank God we're able to get you today. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. I'm sure you listened to my monologue a short while ago, painting a picture of what hangs over Cameroon as described by even the foreign government, the Canadians. We've just been talking to Eric there. I'm sure you heard him. And he is talking about the plans that Issa Tchiroma has ahead. Do you see anything coming out of those plans? I am afraid we are descending to the era of John Frundi and Maurice Kamto, where they tend to promise the future is brighter, we are going to fight, but given time, everything dwindles to infinity. Do you see anything happening here?
Yes, I think Mr. Tchiroma has learned from the experience of Frundi and Kamto. And that is why he is much more sharper now. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he needs to do and how to go about it, much to the chagrin of the regime in Yaoundé. I was really very intrigued when Eric described him as having turned the leaf from just a politician now to a revolutionary leader. Of course, let us recall that a revolutionary leader or person is one who inspires or leads a great and radical change in a government or in society. That's what people like Mandela and the rest did. And the key traits of a revolutionary leader are often associated with strong leadership qualities, a deep understanding of social systems, charisma, which I think increasingly Tchiroma is having, and a commitment to their ideals, even in the face of extreme risk, as Eric has really explained. So this is a man, and I think I am very, very fascinated that this man has transitioned from that cage, that situation where the Yaoundé bandit regime wanted to cage him. In other words, oh, you're just a politician, opposition politician. No, he's now a revolutionary leader. Secondly, the document from the Canadian does not surprise me. I think the Canadians have had first-hand experience with dealing with a rogue regime like the Yaoundé regime. And for people who do not know, Yaoundé Bia has for a long time imagined that the entire world is at his feet. He can do what he wants to do. He's not accountable to anyone internally or externally. So with that kind of arrogance, stupid arrogance, which he displayed even in his speech by saying he thanked the foreign government for having jailed, arrested people and jailed, as if foreign governments are an agency of French Cameroon. So the Canadians, I'm really not very surprised that they come out pretty very strongly. And knowing how Western governments operate, that might well express the view taken in those Western capitals. And to me, it signals that Cameroon is in a very bad shape. That's French Cameroon, very bad shape. And that things do not augur well for them. And they will see in the days coming, they would begin to tighten the noose, especially with possible prosecution at the International Criminal Court of the most criminally responsible members of that regime, whom we know, people like Ngongo, Atanganji, Bia himself, his wife, whom people call Marie Antoinette for her extravagance and lavish lifestyle at the expense of the people of Cameroon. So yes, things are going to move fast, and they move fast, and I'm hopeful that that country will turn around. And that turnaround, since they are our neighbors, we cannot ignore the happenings in that country. That turnaround would mean for us also that we'll be placed in a situation where we can do business with them.
Prof, what do you make of the fact that after the ultimatum of this morning, Ferdinand Gongo, Paul Atanganji, they are rushing to the prisons and releasing some inconsequential detainees? What do you make of that?
When I got that information, I was really, really heartily amused. Because here are people who claim to be in charge. Sitting in Yaoundé, they will know what they do best, which is stealing money and terrorizing people. And by the way, I was very pleased that Tchiroma'S used the apt adjective that described that regime. This is something we've been saying for a long time. That Cameroon is not only a bandit state, but it's a terrorist state. We've been saying this for a long time. And people do not seem to appear to. But now, everybody realizing it's a terrorist state. So, to see that for once, Tchiroma'S sneezes and the whole of Yaoundé regime catches a cold, rushing to the jails to release people. I suppose their advisors must have told them, their foreign advisors, and those we know. People always think of France. But there's another one which is a supplier of instruments of war to French Cameroon. They must have advised them, so look, you better get your act together. When a man stands up and gives you 48 hours ultimatum, he means business, he knows what he's talking about, and what might come next, you will not see it coming. So, to me, it indicates that Tchiroma'S is calling the shots. And those guys are quacking. They are shaking. And the fact that they should have even resorted to the extent of monitoring people's movements and speeches and ministers, their so-called ministers, and those of the military who appear to owe allegiance to them, they are still under. What that tells me is that everyone at that level is a prisoner under watch. And that, believe me, is not good news for all of those peoples. And it tells me that their days are numbered, and for the clever ones, they are beginning to work out the exit strategies, including those who have already sent their families and relatives abroad. The good news is that for the money they've stolen and stashed outside, there's no way they can hide them in this day and age. The international system knows where they've hidden that money, and when the moment comes, there will be asset forfeitures, and that money will be seized in addition to what criminal action will be brought against each of them.
But Prof, and I would like Eric, if Eric wants to weigh in here, that is okay. Don't you think that it is possible that by rushing to the prison yards today to free some detainees, the regime may just be just being smart to send a symbolic message to Issa Tchiroma'S: we can work with you, we can talk, we can negotiate, let's sit down and have a dialogue. Don't you think this is what they are doing? In other words, a way of pacification, buying time to move on. Yes, Prof.
No. Let me just Eric, just a minute. There can be no question of pacification. Let's all remember that the regime in Yaoundé is a usurper regime. It's a usurper regime, and in law we know what a usurper regime is. It is an illegitimate regime. It does not command the respect of the people, and there is no obligation in law for people to respect their commands and orders. So, all the things they are doing there, they are in no position to actually said they can negotiate, why would they be negotiating with Chiroma? What would they be negotiating? The only best negotiation for them is to give up and tell Biya to get out of town. That would be the best thing
Now,
they can
don't
do in
forget,
the
don't forget,
circumstances.
they've already offered Chiroma the post of vice president or prime minister. They may be saying, you know,
Who,
uh,
who gives can always take back, isn't it? You know that.
well, that is
If
true.
they're offering him, they give it to him, then tomorrow they can take it back from him. The
Yeah.
vice president is not it's so inconsequential.
Eric, what do you think about this? Is it pacification, or they do this out of the fear of what? Out of the fear of the unknown that Issa Chiroma may unleash on them? Oh, I think.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go on.
Chris, can you hear?
I can hear
Yes,
you
yes,
now.
okay. No, no, as I was saying, I think Prof is, they just made a mockery of the whole thing, and that's exactly where it belongs, you know. Mr. Chiroma is not in a mood for, it should not even be in the minds of anybody that Chiroma, after all he's gone through, would be settling for some kind of negotiation. That will not happen. Chiroma understands fully the implications of being a change agent for that country. He feels, he regrets his having participated in the government of that country in the hope that from the inside he could change a few things. He obviously did what he could in the ministries that he was responsible for, but beyond that, he realized after when he came to recognize the fact that Mr. Biya had become vegetable, totally unable to run the country, totally absent, when he recognized that and realized who indeed was running the country or attempting to run the country, Mr. Chiroma felt it was time to leave. And given the magnitude of the problems Cameroon had, he felt he should attempt to become, he should run for president. And he had I don't think he went into this with any illusions, but he hoped that, he would win like every candidate. And indeed he won. So, and he won based also on an agenda that he had actually spelled out. And that agenda, I've referred to some of the elements of that agenda. Bringing peace to Cameroon as his primary objective. And that goes through the release of political prisoners, dialogue on the form of the state, the rights of citizens. It's all of that. And then the national reconciliation that must take place. And then the rebuilding of the economy. And of course, an audit of the state where a lot will be dug out. The filthily wealthy people in Cameroon, the richest people in Cameroon, are the civil servants around Mr. Biya. That has to be brought out. And I'm glad Prof mentioned, the wealth that's been stacked out of the country, which we're now going after. That information will become available to Cameroonians. And we know exactly how, all of these fellows made money. They sold the wealth of the land, mining contracts were given in exchange for a few pockets full of dollars that was held in accounts,
But
or for a few palaces.
Eric, don't you think that Cameroonians will say that Issa too was part of the system?
But I just said that. I mean, Chiroma, when he decided to run, he was threatened. They sent someone to threaten him. And he told this guy, okay, if you have information about money I have taken, if you have information about $1 that I've taken illegally, bring it out, but I'm going to run for president. So they know that he was one of the clean hands in government during the, 11 years he was in government or more.
Yeah.
We're going after these fellows. They know, and I want them to know from we're going after them for the wealth they have outside the country. We have lawyers working with the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, to pursue some of them. Mr. Biya may be too old to be dragged into court, but we hope he'll be sent into his retirement home in Vomeka, so that he's no longer that dark shadow that hangs over the country. The military, and I want to use this occasion again to appeal to the military, to think about this country for once, not for the extra change that Mr. Ngongo and the others give them. They should think about this country, about their families, about their children, about the need for fairness. How can it be so difficult? How can it be so difficult to be fair to the land, to use the Commonwealth to serve the interests of everybody? How difficult can that be? Why should they be asked to use bullets in the place of ballots to keep a government in power? Can't our military think about that? That this election was about what happened in the ballot box, and not what happened in the barrel of a gun? I really hope that every citizen listening to this would appeal to the military. Some of them are reaching out to Mr. Tchiroma. That is good. Mr. Tchiroma has said it over and over again. He does not want a drop of blood spilled, even for him to be president. No, he doesn't want that. He doesn't want a single Cameroonian life to die, to be given, to be lost because of these elections. But he knows what Cameroonians want. They want change, and he's determined to go to the ends of the earth to bring change to that country. The team around him is working on for that purpose, and it will happen, please.
Before I get to Onga Onana, let me ask you a quick question, Eric, before I get to him. Is a regime in Yaoundé discreetly reaching out to Issa Tchiroma to say, let's talk, let's reach an agreement? Are they doing that?
Yes, I can tell you what I know. I was with Mr. Tchiroma a few days ago when somebody I know who's in the high levels of the government of that country came to me and said they want to arrange a discussion between the president of that country, the head of state of France, Emmanuel Macron, and Tchiroma. Told me this and said I should convince Tchiroma to call, to agree to that meeting, and that they believe they'll make him an offer of vice president. That was said to me. It wasn't said to anybody else. So this is, I'm giving you first-hand information.
And this was a proposal coming from somebody representing the French, correct?
Well, it was coming from a senior official in that country where we were.
Okay.
And said, a senior top official, who has works with the president of that country, said they will, if I could convince Tchiroma to agree to the meeting with the president of that country and Emmanuel Macron, they think he will be offered, not they think, we will offer him, he said, the position of vice president. And he told me, look, Eric, Mr. Biya will be gone soon. He said, I don't think he'll be there for 2 or 3 more years. So as vice president, Tchiroma will very quickly, get to the presidency with no obstacles. And that Mr. Macron and this president, if they can agree to it, they will agree to it. So I know that that offer has been made. But of course, raised it with Mr. Tchiroma, and it was a no-no. I mean, there There's no thought of even engaging in such a process. And he's
All right,
out
we
of
will
that
get
country
back to
now.
that a little bit later. Let me get to Onga or Onana joining me from Maryland. Onga, you listen to Eric there talk about the French reaching out by proxy to say, let's negotiate, let's talk, we will give you the post of vice president. And they are saying, Beer can no longer be there for another 2 or 3 years. So just take it, and after Beer is gone, you may just be the next president. Do you think if Issa Chiroma should fall into that temptation that the people will still back him?
No, not at all. No. Do you understand? Do you see me? Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. I hear you 5 on 5. Go on.
Good, excellent. That is the point. This is not the way to do these things. They are in front of us, in front of Tchiroma. There is no one that is even ready to do the right thing. We want peace, right? And these people do not want peace. If they did want peace, it is not the way they would be dealing with this matter. We have offered Mr. Biya before the election. We have offered a platform for him to retire. And it was sent, as I told you already, to the ambassador here, and to the Secretary General, and to the Prime Minister, and to several officials in Yaoundé also. I almost have received it. This was a rare offer for a retirement package for the president. This is not showing that they are considering it at all. And by the way, I have to make sure that you know my name is Maximilien Onga Nana. I am from Banganti, from Bangula. I am here in the US because I choose to come here. I used to work with the Ministry of Urban Planning many years ago. And I'm now working with the World Bank. And I'm telling you, these people don't love Cameroon. There is no patriotism in them. They don't want peace. And that is something we have to work to get to, a peaceful Cameroon. We know the peaceful Cameroon that we want. The peaceful Cameroon that we used to have. We have to reset Cameroon again, the way it should be. So I don't know if you have heard about Gambia.
Yeah.
The guy in Gambia, the ruling Gambia today, was just like Tchiroma. Do you know that?
Right.
I was thrown
in Senegal.
outside the country, in Senegal. But he is ruling Gambia today. So let's not forget, not lose hope. We continue to fight, and there will be we'll reach success in this country, in Cameroon. That has to be known from each Cameroonian that there is hope. There is hope there. And Mr. Tchiroma should continue his fight to get it done correctly and have the Cameroonian people choose, as Eric said, the Cameroonian people have the right to say, no, we are not going by that. This is not the way to go. I'm going to stop. I want to stop here. Ashibembe said that also.
All right. Please, you guys hang in there. Let me bring you my next talking point. It still has to do with all of this, but hang in there. We're going to come back to this and talk more about it following my talking point and a brief break here. So please stay put out there, please. I'll be right back.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricatv@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put. I'd like to bring you my second talking point for the day, and from there we will delve back into a conversation on what this is all about. And this is talking about what the West has always told Africans. Once again, the world has stood by and watched Africa bleed from its own wounds. Wounds deepened, not by the people, but by the hypocrisy of those who pretend to care. Every time the people of Africa complain of their entrenched dictators and their corrupt regimes, the so-called defenders of democracy, that is, the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, the European Union, members of the Commonwealth, and even the United Nations, they are quick to say it is upon the people of Africa to fix their own problems. They say, don't look up to us. Take ownership. Change your systems. But the question tonight is this. Now, can Africans change their systems when the very countries, the very leaders preaching democracy are the first to endorse the dictators who destroy it? Let's look at Cameroon. On October 12th, Cameroonians went to the polls with a rare sense of hope. For the first time in more than 4 decades, they believed a new dawn was possible. They voted peacefully and overwhelmingly for change. They voted for Issa Tchiroma'S, a man who, whether you like him or not, was the people's choice in that election. But what happened? The results were stolen. The electoral system, controlled by the regime, announced another fake victory for a 93-year-old emperor, who has ruled for 42 long years. Within Yaoundé, everyone knows the truth. The people know it. The opposition knows it. And yes, the diplomatic community knows it too. Every embassy, every foreign observer, every analyst knows exactly what happened in that election. They saw the manipulation. They read the numbers. They received the reports. And yet, what did they do? They congratulated Paul Biya. The United States Embassy in Yaoundé put out a mild message on social media, and I quote, acknowledging his inauguration, as if acknowledging a crime scene were an act of diplomacy. Others followed suit, the UK, the French, even Canada. They acknowledged inauguration. The same Canadian whose leaked internal memo warns that Cameroon is heading into a prolonged civil war under Biya's illegitimate rule. How do you call that diplomacy, ladies and gentlemen? No, that is complicity. The hypocrisy is breathtaking. If Paul Biya were an American citizen, would he even be allowed to stand for elections at 93 years old? Let's be honest. The United States was deeply divided over Joe Biden running again at 82. The debate in Washington, D.C. were about whether Biden at 82 was too old to lead America. So I ask, if Biden at 82 was too old for America, how can Biya at 93 be good for Cameroon? If the American people rejected a younger leader, why do they think Cameroonians deserve an even older one? This is a question the United States Embassy in Yaoundé must answer. You cannot tell Africans to fix their own systems, then turn around and endorse the man they reject. You cannot stand for democracy in Washington, in Brussels, and defend tyranny in Yaoundé. This is not diplomacy. This is deception. It is hypocrisy of the highest order. Let's look beyond Cameroon for a moment. In 2020, Tanzanians went to the polls. The people voted massively against John Magufuli's ruling party. The opposition candidate, Tundu Lissu, was leading in several regions in that country. But when the regime realized it was losing, the Electoral Commission shut down internet access, silenced journalists, and declared Magufuli winner and declared him winner by 80%. The world knew it was false. Observers knew it was a sham. Yet the diplomatic corps from the United States to the United Kingdom issued the same recycled statement. We urge all parties to remain calm, and respect the rule of law. We hear that again and again, isn't it? Remain calm when their votes have been stolen. Respect the rule of law when the law itself is being broken. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the curse of Africa. The double standard that treats African democracy as a sideshow, not a principle. Back to Cameroon. The hypocrisy runs even deeper. The same Western powers that claim to stand for human rights are endorsing a man who no longer even recognizes the people he claims to rule. Paul Biya is not governing. He is being wheeled in for national appearances like a museum piece, an exhibit of what happens when the West mistakes silence for stability. Everyone knows his health is failing. Everyone knows the man is no longer fit to lead. Yet he is paraded once again as Mr. President for life. Because the West prefers a docile dictator they can predict to a new leader they cannot control. And then tomorrow, when the country burns, when citizens are beaten, when protesters are shot, and when refugees flee into Europe and North America, the same West will start preaching again, and I quote, "We condemn the violence. We urge restraint. Restraint from what and from who? From the people you betrayed? When those same refugees apply for asylum in your countries, they will be told to go home and fix their own problems. The same problems created by the very Western endorsement of the dictators they are fleeing from. It's a vicious circle, sort of. One that keeps repeating itself from Zimbabwe to Uganda, from Congo to Equatorial Guinea, and now to Cameroon. Do we remember Kenya in 2007? The West congratulated Mwai Kibaki despite credible evidence that Raila Odinga had won. The result? more than 8,000 people killed in post-election violence. Do we remember Egypt in 2014? Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, who seized power with a gun or through a coup, was endorsed. And how about Ibrahim Traore? No, he is not endorsed because the West doesn't like him. But Sisi was endorsed and welcomed by Western capitals, even as he jailed thousands of his own citizens. And now Cameroon, the same story, different flag. The Western message to Africa is clear. Democracy is good only when it produces leaders we like. And how long will this continue? They say Africa must fight for change. But how do you fight for change when the referee is working for the other team? When you go to the polls, cast your vote, and before the ink dries, Washington, London, Brussels, Paris are already congratulating the loser. This is not democracy, this is theater. And so I asked the diplomatic corps in La République du Cameroun, in Yaoundé, tonight, the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada and the EU, the United Nations, what exactly are you congratulating in Yaoundé? What exactly? Are you congratulating 43 years of oppression? Are you congratulating unemployment, corruption, and collapse? Are you congratulating a regime that has killed thousands in the southern Cameroon's Amazonia, displaced millions, and silenced every voice of dissent? Because if that is what you are congratulating, then you are not partners of the people. You are not partners of democracy. You are accomplices in their pain. Do not tell Cameroonians or Africans that their country is unstable when you are the ones stabilizing their oppressor. Do not tell them not to protest when you have shut every other door to justice. How do you beat the child and expect him not to cry? Cameroonians have been beaten, bruised, and buried under one ruler, for 42 years. 42 years. How can they not cry? You cannot say the country is burning when you are the ones lighting the match. You cannot say we are concerned about human rights when you have just legitimized the man violating them. No. The way for Africa to fix its problems is not through the West endorsing fraudulent elections and dictators. It is for the West to stand by the truth, to demand that every vote be verified, polling station by polling station, region by region. If Mr. Biya truly won, let them show the evidence. Let them present the tally sheets. Let them open the electoral database to international scrutiny. They cannot. They will not. Because they cannot. So to the diplomats in Yaoundé I say, do your job or stop pretending. Do your job or stop pretending. Either stand for democracy or stop preaching it to us. Do not congratulate a dictator and then come crying when the country collapses under the weight of your own hypocrisy. Cameroon is bleeding. The people are crying. And the world that claims to be the guardian of democracy is looking the other way. This is not just unfair. It is immoral and it is evil. It is evil. So tonight, let the record show. The people of Cameroon voted for change. It was stolen from them. Not just by the regime in Yaoundé, but by the silence and the complicity of those who claim to stand for freedom. The emperor has no clothes. The world knows it. The diplomats know it. And the people, the long-suffering people, determined they will never forget it. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. And I will take you back to my panel for tonight. Let me get back to Dr. Carson Anyangwe. If you can hear me, sir. All right. Dr. Anyangwe, I don't know, something is in front of you there. Something,
Yeah.
There you go. And Ben, your head is cut off slightly, sir.
Yeah, no.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, wonderful. Tell me where I am wrong, Prof. I mean, you understand these things better than I do. The West tells Africans, we don't want to intervene in your internal affairs. Go and solve your own problems. You will recall, Prof. Anyangwe, and to the entire panel here, a few months ago, I think only last August, the United States government decided to cut off the temporarily protected status for Cameroonians on the guise that no mercy has returned to Cameroon according to their partners. And now, they are the same country that will come tomorrow and tell us Cameroon is a no-go place. In fact, there is a letter written by congressmen signed to warn Cameroon of disintegration. And I also saw a tweet by the House Foreign Affairs Chair criticizing the election results coming from Cameroon. And yet, the U.S. ambassador goes on Twitter and writes, congratulations to a dictator who has been in power for 43 years. If this is not hypocrisy, Prof, tell me what it is.
No, you are definitely right. It's a level of hypocrisy in some of these things. And the West still follows the dictum of Lord Palmerston, the British Prime Minister, who declared publicly that it would be very foolish for anybody to think that they have permanent friends and permanent enemies. They don't have permanent friends, they don't have permanent enemies. What they do have is permanent interests. And that's what has been guiding all Western countries, where they see where they have their interests involved somehow, whether it's a military interest, an economic interest, or political interest, they will support that regime, irrespective of the color of that regime. This has been a constant as far as the African continent is concerned. The irony is, when they do these things, they only do it in the African continent. They will not dare do that thing in Asia, for example. And that's because African countries are generally weak. They can't turn up to some of these things. And the people tend to look up to the West and say, okay, the West is our salvation. They can't stamp their foot down and say, look, we need to chart our own path, irrespective of whatever view you might take. So that's what has been leading most of the Western world. You take the United States, you ask yourself, some of his decisions, some of his actions are so embarrassing. Openly supporting a dictator. No, a dictator is a soft word to describe him. An authoritarian regime, a 45-year-old person, as you said, who in America would describe as cognitive, he's lost his cognitive ability physically and mentally, and we can see. And yet, the thing is fit to continue ruling a people. So when people raise their hands or their heads to say, no, we don't want this person, then hear about peace, something the regime uses to try to, after it is committed theft or brigandage, or it has killed people, murdered people, assassinated people, now it talks about peace. Oh, let's talk about peace, or let's negotiate. I want a peaceful country, all that kind of thing. So, yeah, you're right. I think some of these things must be denounced. But beyond denunciation, what exactly do we do in a situation like this?
That's a good question.
What do we do as a people? Take what is happening in neighboring French Cameroon. It's unbearable. And I bet you, if we knew fully that these people like this, there's no way on earth, no way would have decided, okay, we're going to federate with these people. It wouldn't have happened. There are many things about them we're just discovering. These are people who have never known what is called good faith. These are people who never renounce the use of violence. And these are people, you have leadership who are never, you can't point to any originating election. We brought them to power. Whether it's Ahijo or Bia, Bia came to power by radio announcement. And he's been there. He's never won any election. And it is fine. People think it is fine. That's the system we have. So we must now try to tell the people of neighboring countries, look, it is time for them, if they are serious, to fight what they believe in, to institute a democratic system, to institute the kind of regime they want to have in place. And I think, like Tchiroma says, this is not Tchiroma's fight. It's the fight of the people of that country. If they don't want it, well, they'll continue with that system, which means that Bia and his gang will continue to buy time until they finalize their Fang Republic project and then do whatever they want to do. So there is a challenge for them, for us. We already know our pathway which we're taking, and we're not going to go back on that pathway which we've already chosen. We need to reassert and reclaim what is ours, which was stolen by the people of that other side.
Let me go to Onga Nana. You are out there in Washington, D.C., and you know that the reason why Biden isn't still president of the U.S. today was because of his age. At 82, everybody deemed him not qualified, not capable of leading this country. Yet in Africa, precisely Cameroon, a 93-year-old is deemed fit by U.S. standards to be president of Cameroon. What do you make of that, sir?
Question. It is clear that we have to put certain things in the laws of the country. We have to put it clearly. I saw a draft for the electoral for the municipal council being circulated, which were being clear on the age, the brackets for qualifying for that position. Even if it is not true, it is already a good intention. We have to make sure that the laws of the land are written in a manner for which this type of things will not happen again. It has to be clear to everyone that to be able to rule that country, you need to be in a certain bracket of age. That is clear. It has to be in writing. So again, we have some work to be done there in the road. I saw today something circulating that there was a team sent out by Ngongo to meet Amazonians, both
I was coming
in
to
the
that.
country and outside. And you remember I sent it to you,
Yes.
to verify that is this true or not. Anyway, whatever is in the making has to be clear in our minds that the first thing to do is to clean up all the laws that are governing Cameroon, elections and institutions. So that is necessary. We have to build a country that is going to be renewing itself anytime at a sequence, at a clearly written time sequence. Thank you.
Yeah, about Ngongo sending people to come to the U.S., meet with Amazonians, my response would be, it is not necessary. All they need to do, if they really are serious, is to call for a genuine sit-down, a genuine negotiation, or they call it dialogue, reach out to the Amazonian leaders in the diaspora and said, this time we mean something, we are serious, we want to talk, we want us to discuss. Not sending people to the diaspora. You come to me, I will say, go and meet Akwanga, or go and meet Ayaba, or go and meet, whoever, because what can I alone sit here and do? Nothing. And I think Prof. Anyangwe agree with me here, sir. What do you think? Prof.
So the other is that the West doesn't think they deserve any excuse. I mean, they do what they think they want to do, and it's like saying, well, it's our interest that would follow. And what would you do? Nothing. We have the example of Britain for all the things Ambassador has been crying. And the British know very well the crimes they committed against Ambassador. Now, we're talking of over a century. And yet, they seem impervious to reason. It's like, what can you do? We've taken our stand, and we're not moving away from that stand. So it's exactly the same thing. What is not good for them, they think is good for us. The age thing which you mentioned, for example. The corruption thing, which in Britain, I mean, I was very intrigued in Britain. Take, for example, during the COVID period, the Prime Minister was taken to task and forced to resign just because he had a party through the COVID period. I mean, but if you had that kind of a thing in our own context, they would just say, wow, that is it. That's not something to take serious. Oh, well, people just talk, negotiate, talk peace, whatever thing it is. So it is time where we must pursue our own interests the way we think fit and proper with whomever we want to. We do not need to be hooked to the West for the things we need and how we need to conduct ourselves. At the same time, we do not necessarily have to get hooked to, say, the East, right? People are talking of the Chinese or the Russians or Vietnamese or whatever thing it is. We must chart our own pathway, depending upon subject matter. If we think doing business with A is good, we'll do business with A. But if we think doing diplomacy with B is good, do diplomacy with B. We are not going to put our eggs in one basket. And this is a challenge to Africa. Because if you look around the African continent, and worse, the Continental Organization, which is moribund, virtually dead, and serves no purpose, except that it is an agency now for what they give jobs to the boys and the girls, as it were. Put trotting around and say they're diplomats of the AU. But beyond that, there's really nothing the AU offers for Africa. But if you look at other intergovernmental organizations in other parts of the world, see how effective, how the things they do. Our own, again, the African thing. So once more, I think you are right to point your finger at what you have been talking about. We just have to get our act together and do the things which we think is best in our interest. Of course, the Americans are not going to come and tell you, oh yes, we are going to help you remove beer because beer is, 93, which many people say is government age because people think it's much more older, perhaps 97, That responsibility is our responsibility. Just like they rejected somebody who was 82, we should be able to reject somebody who is that old. In fact, we have let things go for so long. How come one person stays in power for 43 years? I mean, it's unthinkable. So it is our duty, it's our responsibility. When I say our, I mean Africans. Now it's the responsibility of the pool of our neighbors, the people of Cameroon, to do what is needful to rescue themselves from that situation. But it's going to be a tough task because if people who have been reading through the lines and who know the mentality, and we know it because we were told this way back in 92, that these people have a plan. It is a Fang Republic. They reiterated it even recently. So they're just buying time to put things together, to revert to it. And when that happens, and I can tell you, the North is what they call the Grand North, is ready also, who now, under the circumstances, will be forced to create a Logon Republic. Perhaps when I think about things, I think it would be a good thing even for the Republic of Cameroon to go to Yugoslavia way, frankly. then everybody will feel comfortable. There is no way I think these groups can be together. The suspicion is so deep. The mutual killing has been so deep. The repression is so deep that I don't think there will be any peace. So maybe it's a good thing for people to go to the Yugoslavia, to leave the Yugoslavia moment in that country.
So, Prof, Ngongo, according to allegations, is sending emissaries to the U.S. to meet Amazonian leaders to do what we don't know. My response was, why doesn't Ngongo or anybody in that regime, in that matter, has to send emissaries to the U.S. to come and meet Amazonian leaders? Why not just do the right thing? And the right thing is call for a negotiation, or if they call it dialogue, I don't care. Why not just do that instead of sending emissaries? I mean, phone calls or emails will invite the Amazonian leaders to say, hey, we really want to sit down and trash this conflict. Please, let's agree for a neutral location and meet. What is your take here, sir?
No, that is a non-starter. I don't think people like Ngongo have that humanity and ability to do that. It's like asking Bear to do that. Bear is bereft of human feeling. He hasn't got any. So Ngongo hasn't got any. Bear's wife has got nothing, that kind of feeling. Those are not people you can depend for to take this kind of action. No. And in any case, even if you want to do a thing like that, the first thing they would have done is to free the leadership that's in jail and talk to them. But as I said, they don't have that ability to do that. These people have lost anything about humanity. He's not part of them. He's not part of that system at all. It isn't. They still live in a world of their own, completely a world of their own. They think they can continue to defy everybody at every time until their kingdom comes, So no, that's a big joke. That's a big joke. I mean, I don't think it's even. It wouldn't even. No. There's no beginning. It can't even start. No. So I would dismiss that.
Let me get back to Eric. Eric, it seems to me like what the regime in Yaoundé is trying to do, that is assuming the allegations are true, that he is sending emissaries to the diaspora to talk to Amazonian leaders. It seems what they are trying to do, in my opinion, is kind of send a message to the international community that they are initiating dialogue. They now want to talk. They want to sit down with all the parties that need to be reached out to see we can finally bring back peace and stability in the country. And then by that way, they stabilize themselves in power. That is the way I look at it. I don't know how you look at that.
Yeah, first of all, Chris, I think it's insultive to the intelligence of the people of that country to even think about Ngongo sending out emissaries. Who is Ngongo? It's not the head of government. It's not the elected.
I know he's the one in charge, right?
Well, but that's the point. That's the point I'm making. How can anybody in the world, anywhere, even consider the notion of receiving someone sent by a nobody who has demonstrated time and time again his total incompetence, who has no mandate to rule, is not the head of government? I would understand if I was told that Mr. John Gute, the Prime Minister of Cameroon, had sent out emissaries. Who's Ngongo? Who is Ngongo? Look, we should get serious. And I really hope that your better angels would prevail when such an emissary shows up in your door. Just kick him out. Don't even do them the honor of giving them coffee.
I won't welcome the angel. Rather, I would say, Mr. Ngongo, thank you for reaching out. If you are really, truly serious, first, release every Amazonian in jail.
Simple.
Go to Douala, go to Kondenge, go to Bafoussam, release everybody first. That will be a demonstration of good way and then reach out to us where we can then sit down. That would be my suggestion to them.
Within the first week of taking power in Cameroon, Mr. Tchiroma will release all the political prisoners. Mr. Tchiroma will set the stage for a final resolution of the crisis in the country, the crisis in the English-speaking parts of the country, crisis in the north and in the eastern province, within the first week. This can be done. Mr. Biya did not need to mobilize and send an army to go kill, destroy, and send people out of the country on exile, and then turn around and win votes. This is such it's such an incomprehensible outcome as far as I'm concerned, that I'm shocked that we're even giving it, we're dignifying it by talking about it tonight. I think Cameroonians just need to,
correct.
Cameroonians just need to stand up, throw out the thugs, the mafia that has taken over the country, hopefully figure out. The men of religion in that country ought to be praying for Cameroon and helping us take away the Satanists who are now in charge, chase the dark clouds that have overcome this country, and hopefully get us back on the path of development. It's as simple as that. I'm hoping that all the nationals, all the people of good, who have a patriotic sense and who want the change that we all desire, will not relent. When I hear that, the momentum is slowing, no, it should never slow, because the demand for change will always be there. As a matter of fact, it should be growing. You know why? Because that country is bankrupt. So all the promises made over the last few weeks in the lead up to the elections, none of it, none. And I challenge any Cameroonian to come and prove the contrary. None of it will take, one rock will be taken off a road to build it. Water will not come to Yaoundé. There'll be the same disaster with electricity. Nothing is going to happen because the country is broke. They're now talking about going to the IMF. Chris, all of your people should stand up and say no to any IMF loans to Cameroon. You know why? Because it is the oil from our shores, of our shores, that will be used to pay those loans. It is our children who will repay those loans. So it is in our interest to ensure that not the IMF, not the capital markets. They went to the capital markets, raised money, hundreds of millions of dollars for the campaigns, for the election. And a campaign they did not need, because they had decided prior to the campaign who will win. So they didn't even need the money. They didn't even need to go to China and spend the billions they spent to buy gadgets. You would even think that if they were serious thinking people, they would produce some gadgets locally.
Yeah.
Burkina Faso is doing it. Kenya is doing it. Botswana is doing it. And you say Cameroon cannot do it? No, they go to China and spend the billions. And you know why they go to China? Because of the $11 billion, 11 billion francs that were spent, billion francs, not million. Of the 11 billion, maybe 5 billion stayed in the pockets of the Mr. Ayolo, who was in charge of that money. And before agreeing to ensure that Ayolo had that money, Gongo would have taken his share. What these people want to do with money, it's incomprehensible to me. I don't know. I've seen the houses, pictures of you should show some of these properties they have at Taganji, Ngongo, Ayolo, and so on. You should show the properties they've built in Cameroon. And this has nothing to do with what they have in Europe. And you'd ask yourself, what is it about these houses? Ngongo, I'm told, has 70, I haven't verified this information, but I'm told he has 70 of the best cars in the world in one of his properties. 70. So he beats Jay Leno in the United States. Jay Leno, who is a known car connoisseur and collector. But in Cameroon, you have somebody who beats him because of the quality of cars he has. No, there's something significantly wrong with these incompetent. The only thing they know for sure, it seems to me, is thuggery. Is stealing from the public purse. Nothing else.
Let me get to Prof. Ayangwe for one question before we open the phone lines for the audience to contribute. Prof. Ayangwe, I'm sure you have heard of this divide among Ambazonians as to whether Ambazonians should be supporting Issa Chiroma to win and negotiate with, or Ambazonians should just stay away and let them do their thing. What is your opinion here, Prof?
No, I think I think they are mistaken. We are not saying that supporting Mr. Chiroma means that we have renounced the Ambazonian project and become and accepted to become the slaves of French Cameroon. That's not what we are saying. I think Apu sometimes should sit down and think strategic. We are simply saying and encouraging Chiroma
Prof,
to get to power
Prof, if you
in
can,
that country,
Prof,
because we feel,
hello,
unlike
Prof,
the other people before,
Prof,
we can do business with him. That's all we're saying.
Prof, your camera is cutting your face. If you can adjust it a bit, please.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yes.
Now, I was saying that I think our people should think strategic. We are not saying that by supporting Chiroma, we become the slaves of French Cameroon, or that Ambazona has become part of the territory of French Cameroon. All we are saying is that, given what Chiroma has said, what he appears to stand for, we think he is somebody we can do business with, unlike the other group of bandits who are in Yaoundé. And that's the only reason. So you can't take the kind of attitude that, oh no, we can't talk to anybody from that side. So what? What other option do you have? And I think they've not understood the whole context of this whole thing and the strategic position that is involved in actually supporting Chiroma. I hear people say, oh, he was part of the regime. He was this thing. Yes. But Paul was part of those who were prosecuting Jesus, isn't it? He had his road to Damascus conversion and became the forerunner of Christianity and doing many things. So why wouldn't you think that Chiroma has also had his road to Damascus conversion, and that in view of that conversion, we can do business with him? And he is clearly indicated by dropping certain hints. One of the first things we're going to do is to release all our prisoners that have been jailed, some for already 11 years, 10 years, 8 years. So I think for me that's an indication of good faith, which we have not found in the BR regime for the past 43 years. We haven't found that. That's all we're saying. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Maybe Eric want to chip in something here before we move to the phone calls.
Yes, I mean, Chiroma not only went to, not only spoke to Ayutabe and the rest of Terence and the rest of them, he actually got his daughter to engage with them, because it has become a family affair. So this is not some wishful thinking on our part or an expressed hope that the man will grow and change or learn and change. No, I think it is an ingrained recognition of the harm that has been done to our people and a genuine willingness to engage in a process that will bring this to a happy resolution for everybody. And I totally agree with Prof. Engage. Why continue to stick with a regime that has demonstrated, that it will not, under any circumstances, engage in a discussion with us, and not give someone a chance who promises a different approach. So I totally endorse what Prof said. I'm close to Chiroma enough to know what he stands for, and I totally I believe that the change that we're all looking for. This is a guy who's conscious of the fact that he doesn't have a lot of time left. He doesn't plan to be to attain the age of 93 in government. No, I think Chiroma wants really he was asking me the other day, he says, why did God give this to me? Why did he put this burden on me? So he sees this as a burden that he has to carry. And he's determined to carry it because he thinks, and he used the word, this is my purpose. I've heard him use that word over and over. This is my purpose. So I think we will, if that country is lucky enough to see Chiroma through to office, and we all hold him to his word, would have a better Cameroon, would have a better nation, would have happier people, and the promise of a better life. So I think, that's my take on this, Chris. And let me say this before I go. If we allow these people, with all the shenanigans that they're engaging right now, think about this. If we let them survive, and somehow they manage to complete a mandate, you know what they'll do over the next 7 years? They will perfect the system in staying in office. That's all they will do.
Absolutely.
And then in 7 years, they'll stay in office. And then we'll have Chantal Biya and Natalie Mudiki run the oil wealth of the country. These are two women running the oil wealth, and the son of Chantal. Three of them running the oil wealth. We will then we'll continue to see Yaoundé sink under the weight of garbage and Douala. We will continue to see Famendongo run the university system to the ground. Maybe take it with him to the grave when he does. So I don't know why these things are not obvious to the folks. Well, I think what we're seeing is a lot of Cameroonians have thrown up their hands in not both disgust and the inability. They feel totally incapable of resisting these negative, dark forces that have overcome the lives of everyone. But I think those of us in the diaspora have to be smarter, and we have to step in. We have to engage with all these institutions that, for example, I mentioned the IMF. Let no money go to Cameroon. Let's engage with our parliamentarians in South Africa, where Prof is, in America, where you are, in England, where I've taken, where I'm based for a few more months. Reach out to those communities and let this big lie be exposed to the world. All of us have to play a role. All of us. It cannot be Tchiroma alone. It cannot be the team around Tchiroma. It is every one of us. And do it because we have a direct stake. We have a direct interest in the outcomes. Whether you are in Kambe, in Mamfe, or you are in Ngolemeduka or in Maroa, we all have a stake in it. And I think we should play our parts individually.
All right, Eric, Prof. Ayangwe, I don't know if you still have any more time. We are going to open the phone line to let our listeners weigh in. They may be directing some of the questions to you. If you are still there, please stay put, and we will go straight to the phone lines. Please remember, before you call, shut down the volume of your television set, focus on your phone. If I pick your call and hear myself in the background, I can't pick your call.
May I just say one little thing, Chris, before one little thing.
Okay.
Because often I have listened to you, you've talked about our people who are in the military in that country. And they should know and they should realize that right now, as it is, they take on now the appearance of mercenaries available for hire either by the Bull, a Kang tribal entity that aspires to establish a Fang Republic. So either they will become mercenaries for them because there is nothing else they are. They will be just mercenaries for them, they paid mercenaries. Or at some point, some of them who want will become the entity which the Fang Republic will force the Northerners to do by establishing a Logon Republic. So this, they must be aware of that.
Yeah.
They will become simply mercenaries. as this scenario unfolds. I just want to make that point so that they should know.
All
And
right,
to reinforce
wonderful.
that, Prof, to reinforce that, there's a group in the north today that made it clear that they don't want anybody from Yaoundé to come into their territory. People some young men in Yaoundé, they're organizing and they're willing to stop people from Yaoundé coming to what they call their territory. So this fight has begun. The disintegration of that country is beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I actually saw something on the social media talking about recruiting fighters to launch what I believe is the disintegration of Cameroon that the Canadians have talked of in their memo. Again, we're going to open the phone lines now. Eric and Prof, if you still have some time, just stay put a little bit. Let's open the phone lines and hear what our audience have to say. And remember that before you call, make sure that you shut down the volume of your television set, focus on your phone, please. When you call, you have only 30 seconds, to make your point. The phone line is right there on your screen, and I see the phones are already screaming. Let us see the first one from ground zero. Hello, sir. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, good evening, Comrade Chris.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
I am calling from Nigeria.
Nigeria, okay. 30 seconds, sir. Go on.
Yes, I wish to find out from Comrade Eric Chinje, is it possible for you to use a peaceful means like that of La République de Cameroon? That's just the worry I have. And equally, I want to
hold on. We got disrupted. Can you take that question again, please?
Yes, I wish to find out from Comrade Eric Chinje, how possible is it for him or his friend to remove a tyrannic government of that magnitude of La République? That's a question I have for Eric Chinje. Then Professor Anyangwe, I have a question for him. What is the way forward for Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia?
Well, thank you for the call. Your phone line is on and off, but we'll come back to that. Thank you for the call.
Right.
Hello. Yeah, Chris, should I attempt to answer?
Hello, Comrade Chris.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, this is Chairman Frank Mendy. I am calling from the great state of Atlanta in Georgia.
You know there is only one great state. You know there is only one great state in all of the U.S. and that is Texas, right?
All right, I'm going to come to Texas then.
All right, go on, sir. What is on your mind? 30 seconds.
Thank you. I want to first of all start by sending out greetings to all Ambazonians, Southern Cameroonians, and especially to our elderly people on the platform, Professor Anyangwe and Mr. Eric Chinje. My question is directed to Mr. Eric, and I am really very happy to have listened to Mr. Eric speak about the revolution of Mr. Issa Tchiroma with such energy and determination. I appreciate that. But my question is, when it comes to our struggle as Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, I may be wrong, but I haven't really seen Mr. Eric's presence with such momentum. So I want to find out, is it that something is, hindering him from coming out in the same manner with this same momentum when it comes to the case of Ambazonia, or maybe he's just walking under the scenes, as a lot of people will say? Thank you.
Thank you for the call, sir. Eric, I'm sure you got the question there.
I got this. I got the
So
second
just hang
question
in
here.
there. We'll get to it. We'll get to it among other questions. Let's get to the caller here. Hello.
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 Hey, hello, Comrade Chris.
Yes, sir.
Tata.
This is Maître Necom
The
from
talk
Netherlands.
Yeah, this is Mete Nikon from the Netherlands. Good to see you again, and greetings to my professor Anyang with there. And it's a long time I've not exchanged text messages with you, professor. Good evening, nice to see you. Yeah, before I go to Mr. Eric King,
You have 30. You have 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds. Go on.
Okay, it's all right. Anyway, then I will not ask for a question. I just wanted to chip a word on what he said. Anyway, my question to Mr. Eric is, I think most Ambazonians now see you like the umbilical cord linking Southern Cameroon and what's happening in the Republic of Cameroon through Tchiroma. So now we know Francophone politicians as like backing without biting. Are we sure that at the end of the 48 hours ultimatum given by Mr. President-elect of the Republic of Cameroon, Tchiroma'S, something terrible is going to happen, or is still going to be like backing without biting again? Because we are very, very frightened. You know, I was of the impression that he has already failed, but now with you sitting here encouraging Southern Cameroon, everything is going to be okay. Now, how far are we sure it's going to be what we promised?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Eric, hold on to that. We will come for the moment. We will come to the moment for you to answer. Hello. Hello.
Yes, Comrade Chris.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good evening, Comrade Chris. I'm calling from Cameroon, from La Republic of Cameroon, Douala.
All right. 30 seconds.
Yes, Comrade Chris. My question goes to Comrade Eric Tunje. I want to ask Comrade Eric Tunje because men following the program and with the news circulating online that Mr. Atangaji Paul ordered the release of 60 detainees. Now, the question running through our minds now is how could this be a coincidence? Because this happened, we feel like it could be a sort of arrangement between Mr. Issa Tchiroma and the government for him to like try to camouflage with the ultimatum and they immediately react. It sounds like there could be some sort of arrangement between them. Because the regime in Yaoundé will not respond that way.
Well, we've discussed that here earlier. I think you probably had not joined the show, but thank you for the question, Eric. We get to it. Thank you for the call. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Finland.
From Finland. Okay. What is on your mind, sir?
Okay. This is what is in my mind. I want just to extend my salute to your panelists, and this is the question.
30 seconds.
We just got information. Yes, we got information that La République Biya and his government, they have signed an agreement with the Nigerian government to give away Bakassi and subsequently in the nearest future to hand over Southern Cameroon to Nigeria. And
I won't listen. I won't even entertain that. That is a social media. Please, let's not go there. That is not possible. You don't hand over a territory like that because of who? Because of one person? Because of Issa Tchiroma? You think that's possible?
Because of Tchiroma.
No, forget about that. Thank you for the call.
If Tchiroma has given a 48 hours ultimatum, and the question is, when you give an ultimatum like that, it has to be backed with firepower. How possible? Because the thing will elapse, and since we know the mindset of this La Republic, as they are chicken-minded, everything will elapse, and that will be a laughing stock to Tchiroma. I hope that there is going to be backing up of that statement.
All right. Thank you. Hello. Hello, where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, this is Benjamin calling from Canada.
From Canada. What is on your mind, sir? 30 seconds.
Yes, I just wish to congratulate you for the wonderful work you're doing, and to greet my learned professor, Professor Kasi Nyangwe, whom I know so well. And again, my question goes to Eric Chinji, Mr. Eric Chinji. I think he seems to be very close to President-elect Issa Chiroma. What happened after the 48-hour ultimatum that the president-elect gave? If nothing happens, should we still be counting on the president-elect, or should Cameroonians take an alternative measure?
All right.
To fight for their right.
All right. Very legitimate question. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Hello. Hello. Okay. When you call, you have to stay on the line. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Hi, Comrade Chris.
Yes, sir. This is Texas.
Yes. Right.
Okay.
Texas, yes. So you guys have a wonderful panel over there. I just not so much. I just want to say that Eric Chinji is. I want to applaud Eric Chinji for his passion and for the determination, as well as the work that Professor Anyangwe is doing. And for Eric Chinji, he does not have to answer any question as to which side he belongs. There are Cameroonians who belong to, who are for one Cameroon. There are Cameroonians who are for independent. So I respect where he stands, but I really want to say that I applaud his passion. And so far, whatever happens in Cameroon, in La République, is going to affect us in Amazonia. And that is really what I want to say. So I'm not going to, just thank you all for what you do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Hello. Hello.
Good evening, Comrade Chris.
Good evening, sir. Calling from where? Maryland?
I'm calling from Maryland, yes.
Okay, 30 seconds,
yes.
sir. Go on.
Congratulations. And I want to speak to our veteran journalist, Eric Chinji. Thank you for the good work you are doing with Issa Chiroma. Please, everything aside, know very well that to let Atanganji start running around, to let Atanganji start running around and trying to release people, that means you have already brought fear into the devil. This is a devil. For him to be, who has done this before? This 48-hour, it is a good start. It is a good start. We got Atanganji running around. He himself is scared now. So that is good. Please pass this message to Issa Chiroma. This is the first stage. We are looking for the second stage now. We'll go stage by stage. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Where are you calling from, please?
Hello. I'm calling from Ground Zero, Comrade Chris.
Okay, 30 seconds. Go on.
Yes. My take is that diaspora Cameroonians, the Republic of Cameroonians who are in diaspora, and those that are within the country, should take this fight to the embassies, the foreign embassies that are in Cameroon and outside, to denounce their hypocritical stand as far as elections in Cameroon are concerned. That's my take.
Thank you. All right. Hello. Hello.
Yes, Chris, greetings to you and all your comrades on the panel. Thank you. This is Roland calling from Delaware.
Okay, 30 seconds, sir. What's on your mind?
Yes, I do have a quick question. So, providing that the president-elect, Mr. Issa Chiroma Bakari, assume his rightful office, what are the plans that he has, especially to some of these worst corrupt politicians that we have, like Atanganjipo and all the rest? Is there a plan of action?
Well, Eric is listening. When we hand him the mic, he will respond to you. Thank you for the call.
Thank you.
Okay, the last caller from Ground Zero. Hello, sir. Hello. Okay, I guess that caller is not picking. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Good evening, Comrade Chris.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Mizam.
Okay, and you got 30 seconds. What is on your mind?
Yeah, Comrade Chris, I just want to say that in every beginning there's an end, and this is the end of this our struggle. So I would like to say that we should support Issa Chiroma because this is the time that has come.
All right. All right. Thank you for the call, sir.
And since our brother Chingy is always around him, he should tell him he should not even listen to the La Republic fools.
All right. Thank you for the call. All right. We will leave it there. We will leave the calls there, ladies and gentlemen. Eric, lots and lots of questions have been posed to you, sir. Take a minute and try to see you can do some justice to the questions, please.
Thank you very much, Chris, and I'm grateful to all the viewers who've put out these questions. The first question, of course, was will Issa Chiroma get to the presidency? If we didn't believe it, we'll not be here doing what we're doing. He will get to the presidency in good time, and I think it'll be a matter of maybe a matter of months, but he'll get there. I wish I could say weeks, but it's not going to be that. There's enough that's building up, and it might take a few months, maybe 3 to 6. So he will get there, and I know that for sure. If we want to get into the details of it, maybe in the next one we can outline a few of the steps that are being considered. But I can tell you right away that there is the diplomatic efforts taking place. There are economic efforts taking place. The strategy includes a pillar on the diaspora, the work of the diaspora, and we're really engaging with diaspora folks. I mentioned it earlier. You should go out and talk to your senators and to these international institutions that continue to provide support to that government. There's a lot all of us can do wherever we are, and I think we should do it. All the pressure will build, and this is a country that is totally bankrupt now, and it takes for very little to have it crumble. Someone wanted to know about my support for Ambazonia, and I really want to address that. I want to tell you that when this crisis started in 2016, I saw the direction in which it was going. I complained about it. I wrote a strategy, and I invite any of you who knows my colleague and friend at the time, Larry Ayon, who ridiculed that strategy. And yet today, if you go back to it, you'll see that that's what we should have implemented then. But anyway, that is just to tell you that I'm not indifferent to the suffering of our people. I'm not totally, and I will never agree to it. To continue to the state of I cannot even go home to my village. You think I'm happy about that? I built a house which is crumbled. Maybe I'm told it's being used as a church. You think I won't want to have? I'm a retired old man now. I would have loved to be in my village and in the house I built. So no, never supported the Ambazonian cause. Totally wrong about that. Will Tchiroma bark without biting? It comes to the same. Well, I'm telling you, we're determined to go the full run. We'll take this thing to an end. And if it's with regard to the 48-hour ultimatum, well, they've reacted to it, so there's no reason not to take that reaction into account. But Mr. Tchiroma is totally unhappy with it, and he's going to be saying that in the coming days. But the whole point
is he about making a major speech one of these days?
When we get to that point, he will. He's not there yet. There's a lot that is going on. And, the support he's getting from the heads of state across Africa and increasingly in some parts of the world, it's all linked to it, So until yesterday, he could not even talk. He finally spoke on Sunday night, I think it was. Yeah, last night. But prior to that, he couldn't for a whole variety of reasons, But I can tell you, he lives this every day. He's trying to figure out how to move to the next level. As I said during this program, initially he was a politician hoping to find, through politics, find a way out. He's finally understood that he's the leader of a revolution. He's the leader of a resistance movement, and he's putting on those clothes now and developing the right policies for that. So yes, will he bark without biting? Or I guess that's what the speaker from Atlanta said. No, he will bark and he will bite, and you'll see that. From Finland, he said is Chiroma working with a Tanganji on given the prisoner release? Nothing could be more ridiculous. So I'm not even going to. But let me tell you, no. The answer is no. Out of respect for the brother who questioned, who put the question. And what happens after the 48-hour ultimatum? And let me say this: what will happen if nothing happens? Should we continue to have faith? No. Look, the 48-hour ultimatum is part of the resistance. That resistance is to the opposition to change. If change is going to happen, we all are going to have to demand it, which is why Mr. Tchiroma, when he said, if they don't release the people, go stand in front of those prisons and demand the release. They're not going to shoot 1 million Cameroonians if they go out demanding the release of a handful of their brothers and sisters. So this is not Tchiroma's change alone. It's a change for all of us. And there's only so much he can do from where he sits or stands. He's working to ensure that he would lead a movement that will bring about this change. And there's a lot of work going on. I wish we had even the time, to delve into that. We wouldn't for now. But believe me, he will. If nothing happens, well, something is already happening. So what do you say to that? No, this is just the beginning, and we should not stop with the release of 50 or 60 people. We should keep putting the pressure, and we will, until everybody, including the political prisoners that we all know, the Nera 10 and others. These young men, I talk to them all the time, Felix Ngalim, Macho Bivixi, Terence, and the rest of them. Until all of them are released. And this is why Tchiroma wants to get there, so that we can resolve these things and move on with the life of the nation, with our lives. This is not some, we're not here to hoodwink people into electing somebody. No, this is for real. Mr. B, I would have been, if I wanted the comfort of life, I would have been a member of the Biya government. Dion Gute is still alive, and he can tell you that, how they tried to get me into that. But because I didn't see value in the work I wanted to do, I turned it down. So we are not here seeking power for power's sake. We're not. Mr. Tchiroma, as I said earlier, told me last night, I finally found my purpose in life. And that purpose is to bring hope to Cameroon again, bring hope to citizens in our part of the world. Anyway, and I like, our friend in Texas who says, whatever happens in the La République du Cameroun will affect all of us, and that too is true. That too is true. So let's hold on to that hope. Let's fight together. Let's stand together. There's something in it for every one of us. And let us say no to, I talked about the need to tell the IMF not to give more loans to Cameroon, because it is our children that will pay for those loans. So let's do what we can. All of us, any one of us, can ensure that this does not happen. Very quickly, there are 3 more. You have You brought fear to the regime, and I'll tell Issa Chiroma this, and I thank you for that. The need for Cameroonians to take the fight to the embassies, I could not agree more. Let's do that, and let's do more of it. ITB, what are ITB? What are, I call him ITB, but what are Issa Chiroma's plans for the corrupt politicians? No, one of the early things he will do is to bring in. We will do a full audit. So we'll bring in internationally recognized auditing agencies to audit the accounts of the republic. It's not about chasing people or arresting and imprisoning people. Everything will be done by the book. There will be a full audit. So those who've been siphoning the resources of the republic, those who've taken out, those who have stolen assets in countries around the world. We know, for example, how much of Cameroon's money is in the Cayman Islands. If any of you has a chance to find out, go find out. That information is available. Billions of dollars, not millions, billions of dollars are in the Cayman Islands from all of those thugs in Cameroon. It's all of this that will be found through a good audit, and everybody, those who have to be brought to book, will be brought to book. It's as simple as that. And the last question is, this is the end of our struggle. Tell Tchiroma not to listen to the LRC, the La Republique. Yes, sir, I will do the honors. Absolutely.
All right. Before you go, there are about 2,000 people watching this live on both YouTube and Facebook. That speaks to the anxieties out there, everything Tchiroma. Can you look straight to your camera and tell these people, tell these Cameroonians now, that is excluding those who are watching by way of television. Can you look through that camera and assure them Issa Tchiroma is not letting you down, who gave him the mandate?
Chris, I'm not a politician. I supported Issa Tchiroma because I got to know the man way back then. I introduced Tchiroma to John back in 2003 and to Adamu Damdrea back in 2003. And I got the two men to begin to work together on an opposition candidate for the 2004 election. It is from then that I started studying the man, and I got to know him over the years very well in every capacity he's been in. And I trust him.
All right.
I want to tell you, if you look at the camera, Tchiroma will deliver on his promise. I will be there to make sure that God should give me keep me alive for this. I will be there, I hope, to make sure he delivers on his promise.
All right. If he doesn't deliver, remember, I will get back to you. I will hold you accountable. Let me go to Prof. and have Prof.
Yeah, Prof is here. Prof is my witness, and I have all the respect in the world for Professor Carlton Anyangwe,
Okay, Prof, please give us your last take for tonight. I know I've been holding you for a long time, being that you are in South Africa.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I had just one question, and that question was the way forward for Ambazonia. The answer is simple in my mind. We must continue the resistance to French Cameroon colonization. And we must right now seize the moment to reclaim our land. And this is a task in which we all must get involved, not just a few. There are a lot of people who are just lay back, and they sit back and expect one or two to do things. I think we must all get involved. I've expressed my views on these matters in some other forum, how we must go around this at the moment. So we must seize the moment. And we have here a good example of what happened in Eritrea when he was fighting for his independence. Eritrea fought for 30 years for his independence. And towards the end, when the Mengistu government in Addis Ababa, there was infighting there with the abates and so on, and mutual killings and all of that. Eritrea seized that moment of that internal fighting to get full control of Eritrea, and then told the Addis Ababa-based government, okay, fine.
Same thing with Somaliland.
Now you must have a referendum, and of course it was a foregone conclusion because 99% voted that Eritrea must assert its independence and sovereignty, and that was it. So we must begin to think. That's why I keep on inviting our people. We must think strategic. We must think how these things, as it has been said, what is happening in our neighbor there affects us.
Your head is cut
How
off
does
again.
it affect us? How do we take advantage of it? And so on. These are things we must keep on thinking about, and seriously, and don't think that some other person will think and come and impose some solution on us. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Eric. It was a great pleasure having both of you on this set. I'm looking forward to hearing from you tomorrow, Eric, with whatever updates you may have, sir.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you for giving me the honor of being in the presence of Professor Anyangwe.
It's the honor to be in the presence of Eric. You keep very good political company there.
All right, all right. Good night and God bless.
Okay. Good night. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will call it there, but before we get there, I just want to make a statement from what happened yesterday. A good number of Ambazonians gathered yesterday in a town hall. I mean, that was Saturday, in a town hall to formally agree on a united front. On a united front, as you heard Prof. Anyangwe said over there. This is the moment we have to sit down and figure out how to take advantage of the opportunity provided in La République du Cameroon. And so Saturday, a handful of Ambazonians came together in the town hall that are advertised on this channel to sit down, deliberate upon a way forward, and a committee was, they call it a working committee, was put forth to deliberate and come up with the next move, the next town hall, which will culminate in an all-Ambazonian conference, So it was a huge success, and I just want you out there, please, this is the moment for every Ambazonian to be counted. Don't stay by the sidelines and keep asking, what are you doing? What next? What this? What? We need everybody on board. We need everyone on board at the moment. And so, with that, I'm going to call it a day, and I look forward to being back here tomorrow with whatever update that we may have on other stories, of course. Stay tuned to ABS on satellite television for those of you who have the channel. If you're on the social media, I'll probably always see you again tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, and God bless.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricatv@gmail.com.